Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny. I'm from Jenny Card Designs. My YouTube channel contains content that is intended to share paper crafting, tutorials, and inspiration with all of you. All of the products featured in my videos are intended to share my ideas and information with you using the products that I know and love and have purchased with all of my own money. None of this content is sponsored or paid for by anyone other than me. These are solely my own ideas and inspiration. I hope that you enjoy. This week on the breakdown, we'll be going over envelopes. This is a new series I have on my YouTube channel, going over card making basics and breaking down all of the information that a new crafter or a veteran crafter may need to know. I hope that you may find some inspiration and some knowledge in these videos. There are new videos posted every Monday. Last week we talked about cardstock. I will link to that video on the screen here. So let's jump in with envelopes for this week. Last week when we talked about card bases, we talked about having multiple different size cards. There are standard size cards and coordinating envelopes to go along with those standard size cards. And there are also ways to make custom envelopes for custom size cards. So here I'm showing you a bunch of A2 envelopes that I have from all different manufacturers. They're all great envelopes. Some have the lick 'em to stick 'em, some have the peel 'em and stick 'em, some are shimmery, some are textured, some are white, some are colored. Some of them even match cardstock, like Simon Says Stamp and Gina K Designs. They have coordinating envelopes, inks, and cardstocks. So here I've just got a bunch of different envelopes from a bunch of different suppliers, and they all do the trick. There really is only one purpose for the envelope, and that is to put your stuff inside and send it away in the mail. So you can decorate your envelopes, you can leave them plain, you can write your address on them, you can not write your address on them, but they won't make it to the recipient, but I mean that's totally your call. So we'll go over a bunch of different ways to make your own envelopes to coordinate with your projects. First, starting with the 123 punch board from We Are Memory Keepers. So this punch board has a great design. You can make multiple different projects with it. It's got this little side arm that folds out, and the measurements for your projects will be listed on that left-hand side there. I'll do a close-up of the envelope slot. And then you have a scoring tool that's right in the side of the punch board. And then you also have a little score arm that swings down so that you can score larger size envelopes and boxes. So let's take a quick look at how to use this. I have several videos featuring this punch board. I will link to a playlist of videos where I use this punch board in more and go into a little bit more depth. So basically what you're going to do is on the left hand side of your punch board, you'll have an envelope size and you'll follow the marks and measurements for your envelope size. So you'll line the left hand side of your cardstock with your punch mark and you'll punch. And then use your score tool and score down the right hand side, and then turning your paper counterclockwise and lining up that score mark into the little groove that's there. You'll feel it kind of snap into place and you'll punch and then score again. So you're going to do this 4 times to create 4 notches across your cardstock. You're going to move up to the top left hand part of the punch board and it's got a corner rounder. So go ahead and round all 4 corners of your envelope. And then you just adhere everything together and you have a perfect envelope. And this is great. This is a wonderful tool. I love it. It really has saved me a lot of time. It's also saved me some money too, being able to use the cardstock that I have in my stash to make envelopes to coordinate with my projects. So if you don't have one of these tools, then stay tuned because I've got you in mind. But first I would like to talk about a set of dies that has just been recently released by Simon Says Stamp, and these seem to be like a super great tool. I've watched 2 videos so far posted by Jennifer Maguires showing us how to use these new die sets, and I think it's great. I think it's really good for somebody that has a hard time measuring or just wants to be able to make the perfect envelope. Sometimes when you're making them through the We Are Memory Keepers punch board, they may not be 100% bang on perfect. Sometimes you don't score them in the right spot or you don't mark them properly, and I think that's what the Simon Says Stamp design is aiming for here. It's perfect envelopes without measurement, and this is a great tool. The price point is a little up there. It's a die, right? It's a large die, and as I've heard mentioned, there's only one die manufacturer in the US, and it can be quite pricey when you're looking at large dies like that. But if that's something for you, then I will link in the description below where you can find that die. And I'll also link to Jennifer Maguire's video that shows you a little bit more about this product. I think it's a really neat product, but let's say that you can't afford that die set, or let's say that you don't have a die cut machine, or let's say you don't want to invest your money in a die that's only going to be for one purpose and one size envelope only. Well, I definitely think that I've got something just for you. I present to you the Genvelope templates. Now, these are PDF templates designed by me for you to be able to create your own envelopes. I think that this template I've created is really going to be something that you didn't know you needed until you needed it. I will have a link to these printable templates somewhere in the description, or maybe on my page. I'm not quite sure yet where it's going to be, but it'll be somewhere, and I will let you know where you can find them. Now, you might be saying, why am I making such a big deal out of printable sheets of paper? Well, to be honest, I spent a lot of time and energy trying to come up with an idea that was simple and easy to follow, and something that pretty much everybody could do. If you don't have a printer, you can copy the measurements down. If you have a printer, you can print it off and score the envelopes, as I'm going to show you. And if you have a scoreboard, you can use it in your scoreboard. And if you don't have a scoreboard, you can even use it with a ruler and a scoring tool. So let's take a look at how these templates work. First, we're starting with the A2 envelope. So I've got two PDF files here. One is the steps and just the image sheet to show you what it's supposed to look like, and gives you all of the measurements. And there are 6 steps, and everything is laid out fairly simple for you. And then there is a template of what the envelope should look like. So first we'll start by cutting our cardstock to their appropriate measurement. And that measurement is 7 1/4 and 9 7/8. So we'll start with the first step, and we're going to score on the short side, which is the 7 1/4 side. So I'm going to take my ruler and a scoring tool, and I'm going to mark 3/4 of an inch and 6 1/2 inches. I'm just making light pencil marks so that I'll be able to see them and line them up. So we'll do this at the top and at the bottom, the same measurements, 3/4 of an inch and 6 1/2 inches. And then I'm going to connect the 2 dots and score down the page. So we'll line up the ruler with the top pencil mark and the bottom pencil mark. And I'll take my scoring tool and I'll press firmly down my cardstock to create a nice score. And I'll do that to both sides of my paper, lining up the ruler with the 2 pencil marks and scoring with my score tool. Giving good, firm, even pressure, not too hard to rip the paper, but enough to leave a nice score mark in the paper. And then I'm going to turn the cardstock and I'm going to do step 2. And I will score at 3 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to score at 7 5/8 of an inch. I actually marked at 7 1/2, but I've made some last minute adjustments that will reflect in your downloadable PDF so that you'll have the appropriate measurements. I just think that little bit of extra 1/8 of an inch gives us a little bit more room for bulkier cards, and I think we needed that. Okay, back to my pencil marks. So I will make my marks in my cardstock, and then I will turn my ruler around and line up the top pencil mark with the bottom pencil mark and score. So you may not be able to see it on screen here. It will start to look like the image in the template. So you've got these score marks going horizontally and vertically down the page. Step 1 is complete, step 2 is complete, and now step 3, we're going to trim each of the corners. So we'll just follow along the score marks. We'll just trim all 4 of those off. And then we'll go to step number 4, and we're just going to angle cut each of the corners. It just makes it a little bit easier when folding. So we'll just snip off each of the corners. You're not going to see this really, so it's not a big deal if it's not perfect, if they're not all the same. We just want to trim them up so it makes it easier to fold. And then for step number 5, we're going to round the corners and we'll crease all of the edges. So I'm just taking my corner chomper here by We Are Memory Keepers. You can use any corner rounder. And I've got my bone folder and I'm just creasing all of the score marks on the envelope. And then step number 6 is to add the adhesive. So there are 2 sections that you want to add the adhesive. You want to add it on the closing flap and on the bottom to seal the envelope together. Now the closing flap, this is something you can add now or later when you're ready to send your envelope, or you can just add some 2-way tape and don't take off the release paper. So I've just added my adhesive to the bottom closing flap, and then I'll add my 2-way tape on the top, and that's it. So this envelope is complete. It's a perfect size A2 envelope ready for any A2 size card. Next up, we have a template for an A7 sized envelope, which is a 5x7 card, which is my favorite size card to make. We're going to do the exact same thing. The process is similar. The only difference is the score marks and the size of the paper. So for this A7 envelope, we're going to use a 8.5x11 sheet of cardstock. So just a regular standard sheet of paper, and I'll use the scoreboard this time. So you can do it either way, with a ruler and a score tool or the scoreboard, whatever works for you. So we're going to follow the exact same steps. The only difference, like I said, is just the measurements. So starting with step number 1, we're going to score on the 8.5 inch side. We'll start with our first score at 1/2 inch, and you want to make sure that your paper is right in the corner of the score tool. So we'll score all the way down. And then the second score mark is 8 inches. Okay, once that's done, we'll turn the cardstock and turn to the 11 inch side, and we will score at 2.25 inches and 7.5 inches. This envelope is a little bit easier measurements because there's no eighths involved. It's pretty simple. So now here we're going to do the exact same thing. The red highlighted areas in step number 3, we're going to cut these off. So you're just going to follow along the score marks on your cardstock and trim off right to the score line. And we'll do this 4 times as well. And then once we get those bits cut off, we'll move to step number 4, and we will angle cut the side folds. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, hopefully the visual on the reference guide will give you a better idea of exactly what you need to do. So you follow along the step, and the red highlighted areas are exactly what you should be doing for that step. I tried to make it as clear and simple as possible. So after those are done, then we will go to rounding the corners and creasing all of the score marks. So we'll get them rounded up using my corner chomper. Really, you don't even have to round the corners if you don't want to. You can leave it. I just feel like it gives it more of a finished look. Make sure we get a nice sharp crease in all of those folds. And then we'll move to step number 6 and add the adhesive. So in the same spots as the A2 envelope, the adhesive is going to go the exact same way. So on the bottom part that closes and seals up the envelope, we'll put some adhesive down the side. And then for the top closing flap, we'll add some double-sided adhesive and just leave the release paper on it, and we'll be able to peel that up when we're ready to use it. And that's it. Simple A7 envelope ready to go. The purpose of this design was just to show you that you can use any cardstock or any size paper in your stash, and you don't have to have 12 by 12, and you don't have to have expensive dies. You don't have to have expensive tools. You just need basic supplies. So here's our A7 envelope with a A7 card to slip right inside of it. So that's about it for this episode of The Breakdown. I've hoped that we've covered enough information about envelopes that you are now fully fueled to jump right into cutting your card bases and slipping them into your envelopes. Tune in next week for our 3rd episode of Card Making Basics, The Breakdown, where we'll be covering inks. Now this can be quite a lengthy video. It depends on how far in depth we get into it. I might make it a 2-part series. We'll see, because there are quite a few different types of inks and brands, and this is really like the meat and potatoes of card making, essentially. I think the meat and potatoes are like inks and stamps. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend it here with me. I truly appreciate it. Don't forget to tune in next week for the next episode of Card Making Basics. Listed on screen here are a few videos that I think you may enjoy. And if you haven't subscribed already, I'd love to have you along my card making journey. So thank you so much again and have a lovely day. Bye-bye.